Welcome to episode 149 of Explode Your Expert Biz Show, brought to you by GTeX.org.uk. I'm your host, Simone Vincenzi, the Expert Strategist, and this is the podcast for experts who want to become the ultimate authority in their niche while making an impact in their world. And today I have the pleasure to interview Jeff J. Hunter on the power of a virtual team, and we're going to talk about how to outsource to virtual assistants a lot of your work. So by the end of this episode, you will know what to do to get at least 30% more time in your business. So make sure you listen until the end. Now, before I introduce Jeff and let you know exactly what we're going to talk about, I want to introduce the tool of the day. This is a tool that I share every now and then that makes my life or business better. And today, I wanted to share with you TransferWise. Probably some of you are already familiar with this incredible tool, but if you're not familiar with this incredible tool, then listen closely. We might, as for business, or for personal reasons, we might have to send international payments or to receive international payments. Now, banks, we know that they are really expensive in the rates that they take when they do an international payment. So that's where TransferWise comes in, where you can send international payments in minutes, actually seconds, and you can avoid all the expensive bank fees. Is the cheapest way to send international payments that I found. Now, in this case, I have my affiliate link, so if you then decide to sign up, I will get £50. Woohoo! So if you have to sign up anyway, please sponsor the show by supporting that. And this is something that is not sponsored by the company, and I use it every single time when I want to send money to my mom, for example, in Italy. Or I need to send money to some of my clients that are away, or some of my suppliers that are away and that are outside of the UK. And I'm only using TransferWise. Super simple. Couple of clicks, the payment is gone. And you save, can say sometimes I even save up to 150 pounds just by using that. So TransferWise, that is my affiliate link, as I said. So if you have to sign up, which I would really recommend, sign up under my affiliate link. That will help me sponsor the show. Really appreciate it. Now back to Jeff Hunter. For those of you that don't know who Jeff is, he's a project manager, consultant, and virtual team expert, and builds teams worldwide. He has scaled. He helped scale $1 million startups to $1 billion enterprise, and help hundreds of entrepreneurs grow their businesses virtually. And in this episode, we talk about the future of business, what can a virtual assistant do, and how to focus on what matters to make the most of your virtual assistants. So if you already have a virtual assistant, or you're thinking about getting a virtual assistant, then this episode is for you. If you are not thinking about getting a virtual assistant, this episode is for you too, because I want to convince you that you must have a virtual assistant in your business to do all the things that will cost you a lot of time that can be leveraged by having someone else to help you out. Now, if you can read also the entire transcript of the interview and get the bonus resources on our website, gtex.org.uk/149. And also you can connect with Jeff here. Scroll down and you can connect in the links below. If you haven't downloaded yet our Selling from the Stage checklist, then do it right now, because it's the only checklist that you will need to create a pitch that sells without feeling sleazy or manipulative and getting lots of sales. I'm talking about 6-figure days. That's what I'm talking about with this checklist. So download it right now. Is la creme de la creme of what I know about selling from the stage. And if you've been following me for a while, you know that I know my stuff. Just last week, that was insane. I had 9 events in 7 days. And one event was actually my first stand-up comedy gig, which I did exactly yesterday. I was terrified, I got to be honest. It doesn't happen often that I'm nervous on stage by doing so many events. But this time, man, I was freaking fired. And I survived. Yeah, they didn't boo me off the stage. And apparently they were laughing. So I consider that being a success. Woohoo! So I'm going to do another stand-up comedy soon and review my routine. If you want to catch the video, just let me know. Send me an email at simone@gtex.org.uk. It's not public, it's a private file. I still need to understand how I'm gonna brand myself with new stand-up comedy stuff that I'm doing alongside all the other business ones. So that's why the video is not public yet. But if you want to send me an email, I'm more than happy to share it with you. You will have a laugh, and you probably see me under a different light that you maybe didn't expect at all. Okay. Now you can join our Facebook group as well, which is Explode Your Expert Biz. And the main reason why you want to join is for the community that is there, the connections that you can make, and we all know that better connections and the bigger connections we have in our business, the farther we go. So join the group, get a connection, and on top of that, you get free extra training. One that I'm doing this week is actually how to become a Forbes contributor. So how I became a Forbes contributor, all the steps that you can take doing what I did to become a Forbes contributor. If you want to reach out to me, as I said, send me an email at simone@gtex.org.uk. That goes straight into my inbox. And now, without further ado, let's hear it from Jeff J. Hunter, the power of a virtual team. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another amazing episode of Explode Your Expert Biz show. Today, I'm here with the one and only Jeff J. Hunter. How you doing, Jeff?
I'm great. So excited to be here. I know we talked about doing this for a while, so I'm so excited.
I'm really excited too. Already the conversation started incredibly well, talking about teas, talking about rapping, talking about comedian. And I know you survived a very heavy Netflix night, so now we all know those nights. We all know.
Netflix binges. Netflix, why do you always release really good shows? Come on.
What show was that you watched last night?
Troy. Yeah.
What's the show about? I don't think we have it in the
It's
UK.
literally about the Battle of Troy, like, you know, the Trojan horse and all that. It's just so good.
Okay, I need to watch it too. As soon as they release it here in the UK, I'm gonna watch it.
Achilles, Odysseus, you know, all that whole drama, and, you know, Aphrodite, and it's just, yeah, gotta watch it.
I'm definitely gonna watch it too. I got stuck now in 3%. Have you watched 3%?
I started watching that too. Yeah,
it's so cool. I watched the first.
Black Mirror though. Black Mirror.
I didn't watch that one.
Oh, it's crazy. It's based in the UK too. It's crazy. Yeah.
Okay, so it's becoming a Netflix show right now. But I promise you guys, we are going to talk about outsourcing and running a virtual team. That's what I promise to you. Somehow we will get there. But even before we get there, we are talking about stories. What's your story, Jeff? How did you end up doing what you do right now?
You know, probably just destiny, fate. You know, I think that, you know, a lot of people can maybe relate to it, but I was working in a full-time job, and I always felt like I was destined to do more. You know, I know that sounds cliche, but I was a corporate project manager. I worked for a Netherlands company, Royal Philips, you know, Philips Electronics. I was having a lot of fun, to be honest with you. I really loved my job. Sadly, they just didn't value me the way that, you know, even though I guess I should be humble. I should say, look, yes, I was a 6-figure project manager. I was doing well. But the thing is, it's not about the money, right? It's about the purpose that I had. And also, I didn't feel like my family was really being valued. You know, I was working a lot of hours. I was managing anywhere from 50 to 60 projects at any given time, you know, doing multi-million-dollar revenue for the company every single month. And I really was losing my relationships. I was, you know, struggling with a family member, my grandfather, Jesse, who who was dying, and I couldn't even get leave. My wife and I were having some issues, and she had to have surgery, and I couldn't even take a day off to be with her during surgery. I had to go to Alaska to do a kickoff for a project. I just felt overwhelmed and overworked, and I started hiring a virtual assistant. Someone who could do the remedial things in my business, like do my accounting, expenses, helping me do Gantt charts. If you're a project manager, have ever done a Gantt chart, you'll know they're like literally the death of me. You have to organize all your tasks into place and get a timeline built out and all that. Well, when you do projects, you have to do that. For me, I was a project manager. That was part of my job, and it was the worst. So once I started realizing that I could leverage a virtual assistant, because I was literally, I had no office. I was a home-based project manager for the company. I couldn't hire an employee. And I figured out how to hire what was, at the time, I didn't even know what a virtual assistant was. It was just a resource to me, As a project manager, we look at everybody that can help you as a resource.
Yeah.
So, yeah, right? So I was trying to get help. I just felt like I was overworked. I felt like I was doing, 14, 16-hour days. I felt like, I was dreading going to sleep because I knew as soon as I woke up, I'd have to start all over again. And I knew that there was something better. So I started building my own virtual team. I started realizing that, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I went from working 14, 16-hour days to a lot less. I started having a life again. Matter of fact, I became a top 5 project manager at my company at Philips within about 12 months of doing so. They started to ask me, whoa, how are you doing all this stuff? How are you being so efficient and managing all these projects? Well, I actually had time to do something that project managers usually don't get to do: manage projects. We're busy doing paperwork and everything else to run our business, right? So, matter of fact, it was like industry standard to have what we called metric Fridays. In other words, you don't do client calls on Fridays because you're busy trying to catch up from everything else you've done in the week. Like, that sucks, Yeah. So I started realizing the value of outsourcing and virtual assistants, and I started really finding really quickly that the internet and just the way that the global economy is shaping up, that, man, I could make a huge impact. I could not only help save myself time, but I could make a huge impact in other parts of the world where they're still developing, and really help create amazing jobs for people. And I think that that's kind of the win-win that I have, is that I'm able to outsource the things that I don't want to do, the things that I take way too long to do, or the things that flat out just have no passion, right, to do anymore. And I can give it to someone who actually likes to do that stuff, someone who actually loves to do it and wants to be able to work from home and, have a great income. And for me, I hire people for life. They're lifers. So I have 47 virtual assistants on my team right now, not just for me, but for my clients as well, because, I replicated the exact same model for me, for my clients. So, I've got people on my team that do everything now. I've got, and I know that you and I spoke before. You have, a virtual team as well, but, my WordPress, my graphic design, my copywriters, my video editors, all the stuff that is needed as a quote unquote influencer, right? Someone who actually takes the stage and is trying to build their own brand. There's just so much stuff that needs to be done every day, but not enough time in the day to do it.
Absolutely. In which country did you hire your first virtual assistant?
You know what? Actually, it was somewhere in the Middle East. I don't know exactly where, because I used a website that it's really popular now. It wasn't as popular back then, called Fiverr. And back before Fiverr, actually, I did dabble around. I have to admit, I tried. I think at the time it was something called. It was before Upwork. I think it was Elance.
Yeah.
There was a couple other sites back in the day. I mean, I've been doing this for a while.
People per hour.
Yeah, there was a bunch of things I used to try and dabble with, but ironically, the funniest part is that I was just desperate to find a project manager who could do a Gantt chart. And I found someone on Fiverr from Middle East. I didn't even really say where he was from, but he had a picture of him in a suit, and I don't know if it was a real picture or not. I mean, let's just be honest. That's the problem with outsourcing right now,
Yeah.
is that all of these websites and things to hire outsourced people, you get three things. You get a picture, you get a name, and you get some sort of rating that you can't really hold a candle to anyway, right? Like
And then you get a
as
fourth thing.
legitimate as Amazon review.
You get a fourth thing as well, which is a prayer that is gonna work. That's that's the fourth thing that you get. It's like, oh Lord, please help me. It's like so, in fact, let's talk about horror stories. Horror stories. Then before we go into the good bit,
I think you led into something perfect though, because the truth is, when I first started hiring, and actually I still have this. So I have a training program called 90-10 Life, and the whole purpose of the 90-10 Life philosophy is that our lives are so divided that we're usually working our lives on that 90% of the stuff that doesn't matter, and we don't ever get to that 10% of life that actually matters. So my philosophy is that we should be delegating, we should be, we should be automating, or sometimes straight up deleting. ADD, automate, delegate, delete, right?
Yeah.
That's the three things we got to do to get towards that 10%. Like, I want to live my life doing that 10% that no one gets around to doing 100% of the time, But in my program, I actually tell people, if you're going to use Fiverr, the best way to use it is to find hire three people to do the same thing, and one of them might work.
yeah.
That's where it's gotten to.
I remember I did. I was finding my blogger, and because I hate writing. I mean, I wrote 4 books, but I hate writing. And I had to hire my blogger, and I sent this video to 3 bloggers, and I said, okay, like, let's see who is the best gonna come up. 2 of them were like, oh my God, like, why are you even here? Why do you even do this? And then there was one which for $5 created the most amazing blog. And I was like, where have you been all my life? I love you. I want to meet you. I want to kiss you.
Been all my
yeah,
life?
exactly, right? So these are the kind of things that can happen. So when you're talking about, let's go into the wrong thing that can happen if you hire the wrong virtual assistant.
Well, I can tell you one thing for sure. I just want to point that out there. I've been doing this for a long time. I've been in outsourcing so long. I've seen everything. And I also want to put out a full disclaimer. Like, my very first year trying to outsource, I think I hired 26 people, and I also fired 26 people. There was one person that I kept, actually. Her name's Rodora. She's still on my team right now. Matter of fact, she's my operations manager now, so she's in charge of all the other VAs that I hire. But it's just at the time I had no idea what I was doing, and I learned the hard way. I guess I did realize that a lot of the problem was me. Truthfully, just owning it. I didn't know what I was doing. I was trying to experiment. I didn't know the culture. I didn't understand how to get results from people overseas. I hired, by the way, I have virtual assistants here in America. Believe it or not, I have a virtual assistant over there in the UK. I have one in Australia. I have one in South America. For me, talent doesn't discriminate. The number one thing that I'm looking for, truthfully, well, actually 2 things, is culture match and reliability. I can pretty much teach someone anything, that's how I see it. Or I can pay for them to go to a training or something, right? I mean, we're living in such an amazing age where you can go on Udemy and buy a $10 course, and it can teach somebody a lot of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I don't worry too much about the skill set. For me, it's about culture, reliability. But I can tell you, I've had nightmare after nightmare after nightmare in the first couple years. Because I just didn't know how to hire. And, the other thing was I didn't have a true, onboarding process. We all onboard our clients and stuff. We all have ideas. And of course, you've probably hired someone to do something for you, and you're going through the onboarding process, and you're like, ooh, well, yep. Imagine that, having a process in place. I know this sounds boring, processes, but they're so important because if you don't put together really good instructions, if you don't put together really good criteria and expectations for your jobs, for the tasks that people are supposed to do, you're going to be stuck doing them forever. Because if that virtual assistant ever leaves, oh man, you're back to doing it again, right? And you just had freedom. You just had your taste of freedom. You had someone for 3-6 months, a virtual assistant. And I hear this story all the time, by the way. Oh, I had the best virtual assistant, and they just disappeared after 6 months. I don't know where they went, right? Have you had a disappearing VA before?
I was lucky. I didn't have a disappearing VA. I was very lucky. But I know plenty of people that had a disappearing VA and disappearing with their data, disappearing with their card details, disappearing. I was like, man. So I was lucky. Actually, we have our virtual assistant, which is Wang. Which is our main. She's been working full time for us for 3.5 years. She's there, going strong. I say everyone needs to have a Wang in their life. I know Wang is listening to this episode because she's going to edit it, so I know she's going to listen right now. And she is the most amazing virtual assistant in the world. But then I remember one day, and I was thinking, what if Wang is going to leave me? I mean, Wang, now that you're listening, don't even think about that. But
disclaimer, Wang,
disclaimer,
you
Wang,
are with me for life.
Forever. You are stuck with me forever. But I said, what if she's gonna leave me? And that's where thinking about everything I'm doing now becomes how can I create a process that not only Wang can follow, but everyone else can follow.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is too, this has happened to me. I've had virtual assistants that have grown in value so much to me. They've learned so much. They've moved on to learning other things that are so valuable to me that I've had my virtual assistants have virtual assistants underneath them. Yeah. As a matter of fact, the funniest, I mean, it was probably one of the biggest posts I made this year. It was about April 14th, I think. It's funny because on April 4th, no, it was the 10th. So April 4th, I made a post and I said, I'm still mind blown. My assistant's assistant just asked for an assistant. And it was true, by the way, which is so funny, right? Yeah. I had dozens of comments and laughs and, hundreds of engagement on my post, and people thought it was funny, but I was being serious, And then like 4 days later, I actually hired that person. Her name's AC. And then she makes a post and she says, I'm so excited today to start my work. And she tagged me and it came on my timeline. So everyone's commenting like, oh, you're the assistant's assistant.
Assistants of the assistant of the assistant of the assistant of the assistant. That's so cool.
And over here in America, we've got the other version of the Office, right? The American Office. And there's a funny joke because towards the end of the show, I think it was the very last season, is that the manager of the company was hiring an assistant, and then the assistant needed an assistant. So of course I got blown up with all the Office GIFs, right, or GIFs or whatever you guys call them over there. But it's funny. But in all reality, I know we're talking about horror stories. Virtual assistants can be the best thing in your life, and I will tell you, there is absolutely a way to have great people and have such a great bond. And like I said, I mean, the real tips and tricks here of hiring the right person who will stick with you for a long time, you don't have to worry about, reliable, is that culture fit. And it's also understanding the needs of that person, right? Because a lot of the times, like Wang, I bet you Wang probably has a family. I bet you she likes the freedom of working from home and doing her thing, taking her kids to school, right? Like, these are things that I can tell you because I don't know, is Wang Filipino or?
Yeah, Filipino.
Yeah. And the thing is, the Filipino people, I mean, I've been to the Philippines 12 times. I've actually gone over there and like put my stake down.
Is that where your team is based as well?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's where my team's based. So I just love the Filipino culture. As a matter of fact, they're making fun of me right now because this weekend I'm going to go see the Infinity War movie, right? The new
Yeah, yeah,
Marvel movie. And everyone on my team's like, "Oh my gosh, have you seen it yet?" I'm like, "No." They're like, "Oh, you got to see it." I'm like, "They're so American culture over there, you know."
yeah,
It's not just American. I mean, you're from the UK. It's just that Western thought,
yeah,
right? It's like, are you? It's they really have a great culture match with the Western world. The Philippines is about as west as you can get in Asia. They love them. They're really good, reliable people. They're very loyal. The only thing I can say, is that make sure that there's a good culture match. Also, make sure that you understand their needs. And the other piece of the pie is, what is it that they're really wanting to get out of it? Like what's the end goal for them? Do they want to have, are you giving them incentive? Are you making sure that they're excited and happy to work for you every day? It's important, because we hire them because we want them to do the stuff that we don't want to do. Well, are we still doing checkups to make sure that they're doing what they want to do?
yeah.
See?
It's really interesting because a lot of time I see people hiring virtual assistants, and just because they don't see them there, they don't treat them as they would treat a physical employee that they will have in their own business. But if you have someone working with you, I mean, if you're not a douche, you would care about that person and what they want to create and what they want to build, why they want to work for you. And that's something that I somehow did from day one, since I hired the first person to say, okay, what is that you want? What is that is important for you? Great. Then what is that is important for me? So then we understand. She understands what's important for me. I understand what's important for her, and then everyone can thrive in this relationship. And I know that, for example, she's now building a new house, and we had an incredible month in GTeX this month. It was the best month ever. And I sent her a bonus. And as soon as I sent her a bonus, she was like, "Shopping money!" Yeah, right? So she was so happy. And and I see so many other people, just because they don't have that relationship, they don't want to build that relationship with their staff. Then they wonder why then people leave or they're not loyal to them.
And the other thing is too, man, I'll tell you, the fastest way to lose a team member is just not paying them on time. It's so important to pay your team, guys. If you value them, pay them. And it's just so unfortunate. There's tons of services out there that you can send money anywhere in the world, right? This, by the way, the advice that I'm about to give right now, this goes to someone that you hire in the office, right? This could be someone who's local. Treat them right. Make sure you're paying them on time. Let me give you guys a quick tip. I like this. There's one huge thing that your audience has a very big advantage over, is because the people that are listening here, these people are conscious of their brand, right? They're conscious, and they're trying to build their authority. They probably already have an authority, and they're trying to take it to the next level, right? So nobody wants to work for someone who isn't clear on their vision and their brand. And let me explain this further. Think about the people that have like lines of people waiting to work for them for free. The Richard Bransons, the Elon Musks, right? Like those are the types of people that they want to work for. And see, we have an advantage. We have a brand. I get hundreds of people every single month that come to me looking for a job. And I'm not even exaggerating. Like if I go on my phone right now and I look at my Facebook Messenger, I bet you, look, I can see right now I've got 67 new message requests. Look at that.
Yeah.
That's on my Facebook, right? I guarantee you the majority of them are people looking for jobs. Guarantee. Just checked one. It is. Hello, sir. Looking to see if you have a job available. God bless. One right there. So if you position yourself well, and not only in your space, but also as an attractable character that people actually want to work for, that believe in your vision and see the things that you're doing in life that are great and good, people are like, wow, that's the type of guy that I want to team up with. I have that happen to me in America. I've got 2 copywriters in the past 2 weeks, okay? People that are helping me write content for my LinkedIn, my blog, help me write case studies. Dude, think about this, guys. Hiring someone to take all those awesome testimonials you have and turn them into case studies? Who's got time for that? I ain't got time for that. Right? Like, this is amazing stuff. And we live in a virtual economy that's unlike it's ever been ever. There's people enlightening all over the world, guys. You don't, like, there's people that are stuck and trapped working in the worst jobs, 9 to 5 right now, retail jobs. The newest person that I just hired, retail job. I gave her homework. I told her to read a couple of these books. I said, can you read these books, especially this one here? I said, I want you to understand Expert Secrets. I don't know if you have that book by Russell Brunson yet.
Oh, yeah. Such an awesome book.
It's a great book, right?
Such an awesome book. Absolutely.
It's just brilliant, right? And what I love about it is, like, I say, look, the way to do branding and authority today is different than it was. And today, and the reason why is because of the mediums that we have. Mm-hmm. It's because you can do one tweet and it can go viral, right? You can do one Facebook post. Yes, exactly. So treat every single piece of content like every single piece of that content is your brand. Every single thing you post, every video you do, every podcast you're on, every stage you're on, it's your brand. Every single opportunity, you need to take advantage of it fully. And that's the thing. See, most authority people, most people that have great brands, they're not investing the time in doing the content. But the content is still king. Like, no one knows about you. I've developed a reputation of the king of outsourcing. It's something that happened on a podcast like 2 years ago, and it was funny. And the guy was like, hey, you should totally, like, coin that, trademark that. And I went to GoDaddy, and it was available, the domain. And I said, yeah, why not?
Yeah, mine.
Yeah. And the reason why I love that is because I think outsourcing has a bad name. And I think that if I open up with the word the king of outsourcing, people are like, well, what do you mean? Why are you the king of outsourcing? It gives me an opportunity to have that talk. It gives me an opportunity to talk, to help redefine what people think of outsourcing, because people think of outsourcing right now generally as cheap labor, losing jobs, things like that. They don't understand that outsourcing is like critically necessary to growth, and it actually helps everyone, not just you, but globally. It literally is probably the best invention ever. It's solving global poverty one job at a time.
Absolutely, I completely agree with you. But now I have a question, which is, how do you manage your team more effectively? Because now, let's say you have you don't have only one, but you have multiple virtual team members. How do you make sure that the team feels part of a team? Because I think that's the most difficult thing. How do you make sure that actually they get things done, they feel part of a team all at the same time?
Well, that's one of the hardest things. It's one of the hardest things to do. But I will tell you this. There are tons of ways to do that. I think, one, having a communication plan is really important. Something that you can use, Slack, right? Slack is so awesome. If you guys don't have that, quite frankly, it's probably the best thing since sliced bread. Slack gives you the ability.
Can I say something cheesy?
Yeah.
Wait for it. Is lacked bread. Okay, no, you can keep going. Sorry, I could have stopped myself. You can keep going. It was very sad.
But for those of you who don't know what Slack is, it's a free app. And you can put it on your phone, your computer, whatever, and people can instantly communicate with you. It's kind of like a better version of Skype, because you basically can organize things. You can send files. You can create team chats. So the bigger that your team gets, and I have a pretty large team now, like I said, almost 50 people. And by the way, most of my team, they work from home. I do have an office building, I guess you could say, in the Philippines, but it's more like a co-working space. I've got about 14 people in that building right now. But the majority of that team, the 47-person team, are home-based. You're like, wow, hold on a second. How can someone work from home and still be a part of the team and work efficiently? Slack is huge. Another thing, too, is using a project management tool. Now, I use Active Collab. I really like it. You can use anything, Basecamp, Asana, Trello, if you really are. No, never mind. Forget Trello. If you have multiple team members, Trello is not for you.
Yeah, no, we use it. We use Trello for a part of it, but for the bigger projects, no, not for bigger projects.
I mean, a drag and drop mentality with one person invited, it just doesn't work. So what's interesting too is that, not only that, but there's also productivity software. Now, this is debatable, but I like doing this because I think there's something interesting about accountability. Accountability is so important when you work remote, right? Mm-hmm. When you work remotely, no one's over there babysitting and making sure that people are doing what they need to do. So here's the deal. If you use a productivity software, there's a bunch of them. Hubstaff, WorkSnaps, Time Doctor. Although I don't like Time Doctor because I think it's really invasive. It controls people's computer. I don't like that. But what you do is you use it as your time card. This is what's brilliant. Someone logs in and you're like, well, how do I know what to pay my VA? First off, I never, ever recommend just giving a salary to somebody. Hey, every month I'm going to give you this much. Because it's not result-based. It's not about producing results. So you want to switch that mentality and you want to say, look, you're going to log in from this time to this time. Or for me, I tell most of my team, they're flexible. Hey, you can work from this time to this time, within those hours, as long as you put in your 8 hours or whatever, you're good to rock and roll, right? Some of them have kids. Most of my team are breadwinners. They've got families. Matter of fact, they make the most money of anyone in their family ever, generationally, That's the joy that we have as Westerners. We have a little bit more in the pocketbook than the Philippine business. Most of the people in the Philippines, just for context, make about $9 a day. Okay, yeah. And that's in the city. That's not provincial. That's in the city. So imagine even paying $3 an hour is life changing to most of the people in the Philippines. Yeah. So, but anyway, having some sort of a productivity tool that will let them log in, and it will also take a screenshot every 10, 15 minutes or so. It's real. Now here's the thing. I don't even check them. If my team's listening to this,
they're like, woohoo!
Yeah, right? Or it could be a ploy. I might check them, and I'm saying this to make you actually not care so I can catch you. See?
Of course.
Yeah. See, reverse psychology there. But the truth is, it really holds you accountable when okay, every 30 minutes or 15 minutes or whatever, it's going to take a screenshot of what I'm doing. So I guess I better do what I'm doing, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of people come to me and they say, well, how do I know if I'm going to get results? The other piece of hiring people, guys, maybe you're not in a position to hire someone full-time. Maybe you just need a couple projects done. Well, then hire them project-based, and you have clear deliverables with a set time, right? Here's what I need to get done. I need it done by this time. Good to go, right? So that's why – go ahead. I see where –
No, keep going because I was ready for another question. So wrap up this one, and then I'm ready for another question.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. That's why when I started VA Staffer, which is my virtual assistant business, I identified something in the marketplace that was really messed up. There's no such thing as a part-time worker. There's no such thing. Okay? When you are a part-time worker, when someone comes to you saying they want a part-time job, what it means is that they already have a priority, but they want to make a little money on the side. Mm-hmm. You're not their priority, right? That's why I really don't like working with freelancers, because I'd rather have someone who's dedicated to me. Yeah. But the problem is a lot of entrepreneurs, they don't have enough work, or at least they don't have the systems in place to hire a full-time virtual assistant, right? Yeah. So what happens is they've got a VA who's floundering, who's trying to find things to do because you haven't been a great boss. You haven't delegated enough work to them. And then the Filipinos are really amazing people. They really can tell, if they feel like they're not giving you enough value, they'll just quit. They're just going to be like, oh my gosh, the day's coming where they're going to see that I'm not valuable and I'm going to quit, right? They're going to fire me anyway, so I'm just going to quit. So think about that, guys. Think about this. When I started VA Staffer, I realized, okay, people that come to me, they want to have full-time jobs. But most of my clients, they don't have full-time work. They might have a podcast like you, and they only need like 2 hours a day to like edit a podcast and upload it onto their website or whatever, right? So that's the thing. So what I did was I created VA Staffer, which is basically a pooled service. So you can come in, you pay a monthly retainer. You don't have to hire a full-time person, but you can actually just have it done on an hourly basis. But the beautiful part about it is you can still have a dedicated team, see? So that's one of the reasons why I started this whole quest. Is I realized that because that's what I wanted. Yeah. When I first started out, I said, I don't want to hire a full-time person, but I got tired of hiring freelancer after freelancer who just, I wasn't their priority. I paid them already, so they're on to the next client.
When you're finding a team member, are you looking for someone who is already an expert, so they already know what they're doing? Or is it better, like in terms of the outsourcing? Let's say someone wants to outsource. Do you want to go and say, I need this done, do it? Or is it better to have a process and a system which is created up front and for them to follow that process? What do you find to be the best?
I think the answer is yes. I think that there's a good case model for both of those guys. You know, the truth is I've hired people for skills. I just hired someone last week who is an SEO expert. And that's because no one on my team is an SEO expert. You know, the people on my team, they do SEO from a process. They don't get it. You know, they don't understand the whole premise of search engine optimization. So what I did was I actually hired someone who is an expert who's going to be working with my team to also train them. So part of his job, his name's Mo, part of Mo's job is not only to do the SEO work, but to also train my team to do that. So, like, it depends, you know, like, especially if you have, like, a podcast, that's something that you can totally not even need someone with a huge skill set. Like, I don't know. I bet you Wang probably didn't even edit a podcast in her life before your process, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, it depends. The correct answer is, first and foremost, even if you hire an expert, I like to have a process. So even if you hire an expert, have them work with you on the process. Because maybe I don't even know how to do it, but this person does. Okay, let's record it on video. Yeah. And I know you told me already you were going to ask me for a hack. So this is that awesome software / whatever hack. Okay, here's the thing. We're already doing the work ourselves. People always give me this excuse. I don't have time to train a virtual assistant. Okay, let's say you don't, but you're doing it yourself anyway right now. So why not record it while you're doing it and then explain it? So a couple cool tools for that. Camtasia, really great tool, allows you to record your screen. You probably use it. Another one called Tiny Take. It's free for up to like 5 minutes of video. The reason I pay for the pro plan on that just because I like the ability that afterwards it'll automatically upload it to YouTube or the cloud or whatever for you. So I'm done with it when I record. Another cool tool, it's free. It's a Chrome extension called Loom, Loom. It also allows you to screen record. It uses your webcam too. I like doing webcam or at least audio discussing things so that people get it. And let me give you a bonus tip. Here's even better than doing it yourself. Do it with your VA and show them and record it at the same time. Now you're getting a triple, right? Because now you've got the audio learner, you've got your visual learner, and then you've got what I call the show me, right? I'm a show me learner. I'm like, I just need you to show me how to do this because reading instructions and stuff for me, like, I'm an entrepreneur. My focus is squirrel. Right? My focus is limited. So if you show me how to do something, if you walk through it, like I've invested in coaches, I've invested in programs and retreats and whatever else, just because the value of an entrepreneur like us who's absolutely crazy all over the place to go somewhere and be
forced to be focused. Is you're just forced, the environment forces you to get focused there.
Yeah. Like people are like, well, why you spent $9,000 for this weekend retreat or whatever? And I'm like, do you know how much that makes me when I'm there focused on something and I have someone who's better than me at something over my shoulders looking at me, you know? Like, I just don't have any problems investing in that kind of stuff. So guys, I mean, that's a small investment to make for your team, is to bring them on a friggin' video call with you, like this on Skype even. You can screen record while you're Skyping, show them how to do something, and then you record it, you upload it to YouTube, because guess what? They're not going to remember all that, okay? So, and here's what's beautiful. They can make a process out of the video. I do that all the time. All the time. I bring my team in.
Do you recommend then, so they get the video and then they write the process? Is that what you're saying?
Boom. Yeah.
I like it.
So here's what's beautiful. Just upload all your processes as an unlisted video on YouTube, right? And then when your team comes online, and they're trying to figure something out, while it's still fresh in their head, you say, okay, cool, I want you to do this again, and I want you to go through it. Here's the video you can watch. Make a process out of it. Make it step by step. Watch the video, screenshot it, and put it step by step, everything you need to do. Boom!
Sweet.
Now,
I like that.
That's a really good hack, and I'm telling you, it's going to save you guys so much frustration, because there's nothing worse than showing someone how to do something, and then like the next time they're like, can you show me that again?
Oh. I know. But like we have, for example, all our training are in Google Drive. So we have a Google Drive folder for every specific thing. So we use, for example, Infusionsoft. So all the trainings on Infusionsoft, they are in one folder. We have training on podcast. All the thing on podcast is in one folder. The one on creating a blog post and updating the website, the thing is in the folder. What I found, and I think is something for people to be aware, because technology is evolving so fast, then these tools and what you record now, it might not be valid a year from now, because the software might be updated or you change software. So it's a constant work in progress, but it's something that you are doing for your business. Because at the end of the day, you want to create a business where the business can survive even without you. And
what a concept.
Right? Oh my God, life changing, right? Life changing. Is it the first time you hear about that?
Oh, I've heard that quite a few times, but let me tell you something. Here's what's crazy. People aren't investing their time. They're too busy to get out of their own way. And you've got the entrepreneur who's busy working an 80-hour work week to escape a 40-hour work week, just getting a regular job, right? And it's still mind-blowing to me.
You're getting to a different rat race, which is even more difficult. Like you're going to run even faster. You're going from a pace to another rat race, which then goes even faster. Man, it's been an absolutely amazing interview. Loved it. Thank you for it. If someone wants to get in touch with you, to get the virtual assistants from your team, to work with you, where's the best place to reach out to you?
You know what? If you just jeffjhunter.com is my website. If you guys want to reach out to me, and ask for some advice, or another thing too is sometimes people have their own virtual assistant or their own virtual assistant team, and they might just not be getting the results that they want. If you want to reach out to me, I've got lots of resources. I can help you out, give you some tips and tricks. Add me on Facebook, Jeff J. Hunter, the letter J. If you're looking into a virtual assistant and you haven't hired one before, or maybe you're on the fence or you've hired one and it hasn't worked out, check out VA Staffer. It's Virtual Assistant Staffer. VAstaffer.com is my website. And you just check it out. Everyone on there writes their own bios, so you're going to have all the grammar mistakes and everything. Unlike the other outsourcing companies out there who have some white girl with her little suit top and her little headset on, smiling like, I'm ready to take your call. I have real team pictures of my team. I'm really proud of what they do, and they really have a servant's heart.
That's brilliant. So all the link are going to be in the show notes. Make sure that you get in touch with Jeff. Jeff, thank you very much again for being on our show. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to yet another episode of Explode, your expert biz show, brought to you by GTeX. Make sure that you subscribe right now to our podcast so that you don't miss any other episode. And as well, let us know with a review, what did you enjoy the most about this interview? Of course, the review needs to be 5-star. Wink, wink. Exactly. Can you see Jeff's face? I mean, if you're just listening, you might not see Jeff's face, but just picture it. Is a smiley, friendly face inviting you to give that 5-star review.
Picture Shirley Temple.
even shaved his head for you. So guys, thank you thank you, Jeff. I really appreciate it. And remember that together we grow exponentially. Bye for now.